Something like over 1,100 folks go missing each year in our national parks. That's what, a chance you'll be hit by lightning while your plane goes down? I was willing to take those odds. But after what I witnessed in those mountains, I'm telling you, the reality isn't worth that risk. I can hardly close my eyes to sleep these days, let alone stand being in the dark as I type this. It's like that thing you're still looking for. No, hunting me. I don't feel safe, even at this piece of shit roadside motel. Where do I even begin with this one? I mean, you hear about these things in online message boards. Someone so-and-so's friend or a cousin smells some ungodly musk while camping, or there's an unexplained trail closure due to a bear attack. Backpackers, we brush those things aside. Nothing can keep us from stretching our legs in some of the most remote places this country has to offer. We know we share that wilderness with animals, but nothing like this. This trip was all planned out, well, sort of. I had an idea of where I wanted to go, but in typical fashion, I had slept in and was late lining up for the walk-up permits. No campsites were available and I couldn't exactly detour around the park. This trip was all about putting the steps in, the miles. One foot after another for an uninterrupted footpath through the Pacific Northwest. A day hike then. That's what I promised the ranger. As skeptical as she looked, I think she felt sorry for me, eyeing the pack on my back and the dirt and grime I was caked in. Wouldn't hurt to let me have one night off the books, would it? So on I went, down that godforsaken trail that just hours before promised gnarly climbs, stellar vistas, and roaring waterfalls with brisk lakes I could shed my clothes and leap into at my heart's content. The sun was only in the sky for a few hours by the time I began feeling off. Like the birds chirping were missing their melodies, and even the flying insects were erratic. It was like someone was coaxing them along, saying, act normal so nobody suspects. Nature isn't supposed to feel like this. It's supposed to feel, well, natural. Even the lighting was off, like everything was bathed in the type of light that only happens during an eclipse, a bizarre silver-toned high noon. Everything around me was steeped in that oppressive eeriness, like I wasn't meant to be seeing the woods like this. Normally, I would hike until dusk, but something in me told me to hunker down, get out of sight. Not only because I was planning to camp illegally in this park, but almost like the birds and the bugs were offering a warning. God, I just wish I saw it for what it was and turned around, swallowed my pride and tried again the next day. Fighting every instinct I had, I stepped off of the trail into the woods to my left. Without a permit, I wasn't supposed to be staying overnight outside an established campground. Stealth camping was my only option. It isn't just camping out of bounds. Getting caught carries consequences. I had to camp where I was hidden, somewhere nobody could find without turning over a rock or two. There were a couple campsites nearby, but nothing near enough for me to draw attention. It only took like 200 meters before I came into a clearing. The setting sun and cooling temperature made each sunbeam visible through the light mist now gathering in the canopy of trees. The smell of undisturbed soil, the barely there sound of the breeze through the leaves. That spot was perfect. I walked the perimeter of the clearing, staking out any spots to take, and it settled on a cluster of downed trees draped across one another. Setting up a tent was too risky. Too many other campers were around, and they would surely narc on me to the rangers. I threw my gear in the hollow, laid out my sleeping pad, and began my nightly routine. The sun sets fast in the woods, unexpectedly fast sometimes. Being alone, there wasn't much keeping me up, so I crawled inside my refuge from the night and began piling some fallen leaves and other debris at the entrance of my shelter. I think that's what kept me alive. The silence that night was palpable. No insects. No rustling of critters. Nothing. It was like the trees themselves wanted to hide from the darkness. In my years of camping in the backcountry, I have only experienced that silence maybe once. It puts you on edge. Every leaf falling to the earth rattles you, as if they announced your presence to whatever is around listening. I wish that silence lasted longer. A frantic stumble through the undergrowth is what roused me from my sleeping bag at first. Then the cries for help, and they were coming right towards me. I had peeked my head out of my sleeping bag, trembling in paralyzed fear, thoughts racing about whatever danger was barreling towards me. A young woman broke into the clearing, frantically looking back over her shoulder as she tripped and fell into the ground. She had looked like the forest itself was owed a pound of flesh. Her hair was long and tangled. Twigs and other debris jutted out from what I could assume was a neat ponytail at the start of the day. Claw marks littered her skin, each more violent and animalistic than the last. The once running blood now caked with dirt and sweat. Tears were streaming down her face, and only the look of abject horror was frozen into her features. That's about all I could make out in the moonlight. She was being chased. No, hunted. Saying it was a chase makes it seem like there was hope of a different outcome, or even fair odds. The smell announced its presence before the lumbering footsteps. Like rotting eggs and a road-killed skunk left in the sun for a few days, it encroached upon my once serene hollow with violence and disrespect. I had to bury my face into the soil to keep myself from gagging. Her screams had risen into full-blown hysterics as this thing loomed towards her. Her scrambling backwards created little difference in the gap that creature was rapidly closing. Its movements were so effortless, nearly silent, as if the beast wasn't bigger than any grizzly I've ever seen. The claws on its feet carved deep grooves into the moss-covered floor, and its arms so long they nearly dragged behind it, almost how you'd expect an orangutan or a gorilla to walk. I wish I could say I was the hero that saved the day. The man who triumphantly rose from his hideaway to scare the beast off the damsel in distress. But I wasn't. I cowered, doing everything in my power to quit from shaking in terror. Silently, I moved as much dirt, rotting branches, decayed leaves, and Lord knows what else onto my body and gear to hide myself. Stay hidden. I couldn't move an inch. Even a twitch of a muscle felt like an invitation for attention. Cocooned by decay and soil, all I could do was watch. The beast was upon her now, standing over her as she wept and begged for help that was never going to come. The hulking mass of fur reached out with arms that once dragged at its sides towards the poor woman's neck, claws blackened with viscera, and dirt slowly dug into her windpipe as her shrieks slowly subsided into nothing but a whimper. Its maw expectantly opened as a roar that shook the earth echoed through the clearing, bloodied saliva dripping over its prey. The sound of it clamping onto her flesh is one that will never leave my nightmares. The effortlessness of the tearing of flesh, the stomach-lurching scent of her coppery blood filling the air, the sounds of the beast feasting on her flesh, her cries as she was eaten alive. It wasn't until the wind shifted that the creature lost interest in its meal. It looked right past my little hollow, the hollow I had already half buried myself into like an open invitation into an early grave. Its muzzle turned towards the sky as it started to sniff the air. It could smell me, I swear it. The few steps it took towards my direction were agonizing, deliberate. Like how your older brother would approach the closet you sought refuge in during hide and seek. I couldn't look anymore. I closed my eyes tight and waited for the inevitable, but it never came. All night I spent with my eyes welded shut, with only the sound of teeth tearing into flesh filling the woods. Oh God, the stench. I stayed there, motionless, for what felt like days. Even after the beast had moved on, I dared not. Hunger and paranoia got the better of me, and I hightailed it out of there once the sun was in the sky long enough. I was bloodied and bruised, sprinting back through the woods, out of that godforsaken clearing, and back to the trail, screaming the whole damn way back to the ranger station. Emergency vehicles were already on site by the time I had arrived. They had received word that a camper had gone missing from Site C the night prior, a young woman. I explained everything I saw, just search and rescue, down the damn clearing. I was met with incredulous glances and stifled guff. Well, I suppose I couldn't blame them. I looked like I had taken a literal dirt nap, but they just took my statement as if it were business as usual. The ranger who checked me and the day prior didn't even flinch, almost like they knew her fate before I collapsed on that stupid gravel drive. Just another missing persons flyer around the local towns. That brings me to this evening, 3 days later, sitting here typing this on those same message boards we were told to ignore. The message boards that claim the sights and scents of the forest are just our imaginations. I don't think I actually hid from that beast that night. I only bought some time. The smell is only getting stronger, and no matter where I go, it follows. I bet it caught a whiff of me and let me go. To anybody that will listen, the smell of rotting eggs is seeping through every roadside motel I stay at. The very same smell countless backpackers and backcountry campers have sworn up and down belong to something out there in those damn woods. It exists, whatever it is. The park's system is hiding something from us. I can't risk it following me out of these woods, but please don't be the hero. Hide. Love horror? Subscribe for more terrifying videos.